Hello guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Arvin, and as you can tell from the title of this video, today we're going to be talking about Team Milli and the squad that has been selected for our two games against Qatar and North Korea. Let's get into it. As a little side note as well, this is the first video officially that I'll be posting on my channel. However, I hope this will be one of many videos that I'll be posting. Everything is going to be Team Milli related, whether it be previewing our matches and hypothetical lineups, reviewing our games, talking about specific players, etc. And yeah, so hopefully this is one of many videos to come. Alright, now let's get into it. Let's start off with the 4 goalkeepers that have been called up. Also, to just as a side note as well, a number of players were called up to a preliminary camp for the national team a week or two ago, and they participated in training. However, the squad that I'm going to be reviewing right now is the final squad of 28 players that have been selected for this international window. I will be talking about some of the players that were called up but were then crossed out of the camp, and whether it was really fair on them to be left out of the second round of the Iranian national team camp. To begin things off, we have 4 keepers that were called up to the national team. Familiar faces as well. We have Ali Reza Bayramvand, Payam Niyazmand, Sayyid Hossein Hosseini, and Mohammad Khalife. As for the goalkeepers, pretty neutral thoughts. I mean, I think we could have all guessed at least 3 of the keepers that would be getting called up to the national team. These days, Bayramvand, Hosseini, and Niyazmand are 3 regular faces that we always see. And I'm glad to see that at least one young goalkeeper, the 20-year-old Mohammad Khalife, has gotten a call up to the national team, so that's good. I will be talking more about specific players I'd like to see play in my video for previewing the Qatar game, so I won't get too much into who should be starting here. However, in terms of the actual selection of keepers, I have no complaints. I know more recently there has been a lot of criticism of Bayramvand and whether he should even be getting called up to the national team or not. However, I believe he offers a wealth of experience for a national team, having played in 2 World Cups, 2 Asian Cups. So he's definitely good to have on the squad. Whether he should be starting or not, though, is another question, which I'll go more into in my next video previewing the Qatar game. So no complaints there in terms of the keepers. It's good to see we have 1 young keeper in, and hopefully he can get some minutes as well in maybe future games. Moving on to our center backs, we have the 22-year-old Muhammad Amina Hasbavi, Arif Aqasi, Ali Nemati, Murtaza Purali Ganji, and Shoja Khalilzadeh. Now, in terms of the center backs that have been called up to the national team, I'm glad to see Amin Hasbavi get called up and remain in the squad as well, because in the preliminary camp, another young defender in Zore, Mehdi Zore, if I'm not mistaken, was also called up. I believe he plays for Golgohar. And however, he was sent home after the final squad list was announced. He is also a very promising and young defender, and it's sad to see that he won't be partaking in any of the games to come. As well as Salman Fallah, who I would have also liked to see get called up. He's also a very young and talented defender, and I believe he's had some good performances this year as well, and definitely deserves to be called up to the national team. In terms of some of the other players that have been called up, I do have my complaints against Shoja Khalilzadeh and Murtaza Purali Ganji. Even if we were to call up an experienced defender, I don't see a reason why we should be calling up both of them. I feel like, Shoja Khalilzadeh has a wealth of experience. Sure, he's good to have around, especially for the youngsters, offer them some competition, maybe even pair him up with the younger center back, or vice versa, bring in Mortaza Ganji, pair him up with a young center back. But for these sorts of things, you only need one of them. Mortaza Ganji hasn't really been the same after he tore his ACL. He's not as fast as he used to be. His level has dropped a bit, and so as Joja Khalilzadeh, he's 36, obviously, he's nowhere as fast as he used to be. So one of those two I would have rather not seen on the national team. I would have rather seen a younger defender like Mehdi Zor or Mehdi Zoreh or someone Fallah get called up instead of them. So, yep, I do have my complaints there. Arif Akkasi and Ali Nemeti, they're good backup options as well. Obviously, they being 28 and 29 years old, respectively, they don't have a very long future with the national team as opposed to a 22-year-old Amin Hasbavi, who has many years still left to play for the national team. I need to see some more of Arif Akkasi. I have not seen many of his games that he played for Traktor. I have seen Ali Nemeti play for the national team before in some of our other qualification matches when Khalilzadeh was out and unavailable, and he was pretty solid as well. I would have rather seen Amin Hasbavi play in his stead, but no complaints there. He's a solid defender, nothing too special. Moving on to our left backs, we have only called up two in Omid Nurafkan and Milad Mohammadi. In terms of our left backs, I would have really liked to see, first of all, I really don't rate Omid Nurafkan that much. I know that Qadanuri really likes Nurafkan because he can play as a left back and a CDM. However, I personally, he's a okay player. I'm not taking that away from him, but he's definitely not good enough to start. He's getting up there in years as well. He's 28 years old. It's not like he's going to be a part of the national team for a very long period of time, and that it's not like he can get a lot better. I believe that maybe Abul Fazl Jalali, who plays for Istiklal, would have been a good addition to see him in the national team. He has been a part of the national team during the Carlos Queiroz era. He even played in the World Cup match against the USA, I believe. So he is a really good player. He's from Istiklal, and also I would have liked to have seen the Traktor left back, Mohamed Naderi, be a part of the squad. Having seen some of Traktor's games, he has caught my eye. He's very athletic. He is somewhat fast, good in attack, but also he is really defensive minded as well, which is really good to see. He's been really solid for Traktor, and he also has experience playing in Europe, so he is a very experienced player. And I think seeing as Traktor did win the Persian Gulf Pro League, he is in form, and I think he deserved a call up. However, other than Abu Fazl Jalali and Mohamed Naderi, I don't think I would have liked to see, or I don't have anyone else in mind I would have liked to see get called up for the left back position. Milad Mohammadi is still very solid, still very good player, definitely should be getting called up. But yeah, Omid Nurafkan, if we're going to invite a 28-year-old, I would much rather have Mohamed Naderi, who is also 28 years old, or a 26-year-old in Abul Fazl Jalali. We don't have a lot of youngsters in that position, unfortunately. I believe we have one really young player, maybe 21, 20 years old, called Rejvandi. I think he plays in the second league in Croatia. However, he is definitely not good enough yet, at least, to play for the national team, but we'll have to see if he manages to develop in the Croatian league. Much like how Sadek Moharami managed to develop in that league. Speaking of Moharami, moving on to our right backs, we have Arya Yousefi, Sadek Moharami, and Saleh Hardani, who have been called up to the national team. Just going back a little bit, I do believe one of our center backs, Ali Nemeti, can play as a left back. So in some sense, we have called up 3 left backs, and we have also called up 3 right backs. In terms of right backs, I'm pretty happy with all 3 of these players who got called up. I'm glad to see that Arya Yousefi is in the squad. He, in my opinion, is the better between the other 2 Moharami and Hardani. In terms of Sadek Moharami, he did tear his ACL and he was injured for a very long time. More recently, he's been able to play for his team, Dinamo Zagreb. However, firstly, he's left the club now. He's a free agent, and we've yet to see where his next team is going to be. And secondly, I haven't seen him play after his ACL tear. I don't know if he's as agile, as fast, as strong as he was before. If he is, then he might be our best right back, but I have to see him play. Hopefully he does get some minutes in our next 2 games. However, between Hardani and Yusufi, I much rather have Yusufi be playing. First of all, he's much younger, he's much more skilled in attack, he's very fast, and he's good in the air as well. So definitely would prefer Yusufi. Also, he's 23 years old compared to Moharami, who's 29 years old. So, 6 years age difference. That's almost 2 more World Cups that maybe Yusufi could play if we start playing him now. He can start gaining experience. But yeah, no complaints in terms of the right back position. There was another right back who also got called up to the national team in the first camp, called Jakub Baraje from Persepolis. I've actually seen him play both when he was playing for the U17 squad and also for the U20 squad. In the U17 squad, he was actually only playing as a right winger. In the U20 squad, he played as a right back and as a right winger. But for his club Persepolis, he only plays as a right back. However, he is 19 years old, really young, but I don't believe he's at that level yet where he can play for the national team. So even just inviting him to one camp, I think was appropriate enough. If we do want to play a young player in this position, Yusufi is definitely a good option. Moving on to our central defensive midfielders, we have Mohamed Qorbani, Said Izzatullahi, and Ruzbe Cheshmi. Now, there is one player that I would have liked to see get called up for the national team in this position. He's gone below the radar of many people. However, when he did play for the U20 national team, when I was watching their games, and I watched all the games, he was the one who stood out to me the most out of every single player on the pitch, whether that be the 19-year-old right back that I previously talked about, Jakub Baraje, whether it be the central midfielder who's also 19 years old, Razok Nia, who's also been called up to the national team. Out of all the players on that U20 squad, this player, Mobin Dehqan, who plays as a CDM for Khaybar FC in the Persian Gulf Pro League, in my opinion, was one of the best players on that team. He kind of reminded me of a young Izzatullahi as well. I 100% think he has the quality to play for the national team. However, he's flown under the radar of many people. I will be actually making a separate video on him specifically and looking at some of his clips, highlights, and where I think he could fit in for the national team. However, other than him, no really other player that I would have chosen for CDM positions. Obviously, we have Qorbani, youngster, 24 years old. Izzatullahi, 28, getting older, but still not that old. He's still, if he stays in shape, which that is a concern, he definitely has a couple more years left with the national team. Definitely World Cup and one more Asian Cup for sure. Ruzbe Cheshmi, at first I really didn't want to see him get called up anymore, but seeing the recent Hazvi Cup goal that he scored, and also thinking back to that goal against Wales, I've just reached the conclusion that he is one of the most clutch players we have on the national team, and he's just good luck. So you know what, we'll keep him, and I don't really have another player in mind that I'd like to see get called up other than the Khaybar FC player that I mentioned, Momin Dehqan. However, that's a long stretch that he gets called up anytime soon. Moving on to our central midfielders, we have Syed Mohammed Karimi, Amir Mohammed Rasokhnia, And yeah, it's only those two players. Or you could also count Salman Qudus as a central midfielder as well, because he sort of plays in that position. He also plays as an attacking midfielder. I mean, when he played for Brentford, he practically played everywhere. So, but yeah, so I'll count him as a central midfielder as well. Obviously, no surprise in Salman Qudus getting called up. At the end of the day, even though he is 31 years old, he offers a wealth of experience, played for Brentford in the Premier League at some point. Good to have, in all these positions, it's good to have one or two older players. And then it's good to see a youngster in Razoknia. And surprisingly, I think Qalanoui really rates this player, because out of all the 4 19-year-olds that were invited into the first camp, which was a couple of weeks ago, he's the only young player, or 19-year-old player, that's been kept. And also in the previous international window, he was also called up. So this is the first time we've seen a 19-year-old get called up back-to-back. So I think Amir Qalanoui must really rate this player, which is surprising to me, honestly, because I watched him play for the U20 national team alongside the CDM, who can also play as a central midfielder as well, Mobin Dekhan. I saw them play side by side. And the difference in quality for me was a lot. I thought that Mobin Dekhan was miles clear of this player, Razoknia. He didn't strike me as that good. But, okay, a youngster getting called up is good regardless, but still, I'm surprised. I am. Maybe he's improved a lot since 5 months ago, was it, when they played in the Asian Cup, the U20 squad. But yeah, he was definitely not one of the better midfielders in that U20 squad. So I don't know what Amir Qalanoui sees in him. He must see something in him, because he's called him up twice now for our squad. And then one player that I really don't want to see in this squad is Sayed Mohamed Karimi from Sepahan. He's 28 years old, doesn't have that much time left for the national team. I would have much rather, if we are going to bring in an experienced player at central midfield, I would have much rather have seen Ali Karimi from Kayserispor in Turkey. He's playing at a good level in Turkey. He has experience at 2 previous World Cups, I believe, the 2018 and the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. I'm sure he played in the World Cup in Qatar. I don't believe he played any minutes in the 2018 World Cup, but still, very, very good player, has a lot of quality. He is 31 years old, but 31, 28, not a big difference. If we are going to bring up an experienced player, much rather see him. He is a lot better, much more higher quality player than what Karimi, which, now that I think about it, is kind of confusing, because their last names are Karimi. I'm talking about Ali Karimi in Kayserispor. I would rather see him than Mohamed Karimi of Sepahan. And other central midfielders, you also have Nurullahi, who's playing for Al Wahda in the UAE. I believe him and Qalanoui are not on good terms. I believe Nurullahi, if I'm not mistaken, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, he walked out on the national team camp previously, maybe a year ago. I'm not sure how long ago it was. And yeah, he just walked out because I think he didn't think he believed that he should be playing more, and he wasn't playing enough. So he's on bad terms with Qalanoui. I'm not sure if he's apologized yet or not. And if he hasn't apologized, there's obviously no reason why he should be getting called up. If you're, that arrogant and you can't sit on the bench and support your team, like, think about it like this. Previously, we had players like Reza Gucci-Nejad, or you had Dijage in the 2018 World Cup. They got 0 minutes. Think about it. These are big players, and yet they were fine with that. They were there to support their team. If Nurullahi apologizes, I think Amir Khan should let him back in the squad, because he's having a really good season. He's really in form. Otherwise, there's no room in the national team for that sort of player with a big ego. We have enough of those already as it is. And yeah, other than that, no other central midfielders that I believe should be getting the call-up anytime soon. In terms of our attacking midfielders, we only have one, and that is Mohammad Jawad Hossein-Nejad. Very, very, very good player. I rate this player a lot. I've seen him play. He reminds me of Ali Karimi. He's like the younger version of him. Still has a lot to learn. I feel like sometimes he does have a heavy touch. Lets the ball get away from him a little bit, but very creative. Has a really good vision. And yeah, he should 100% be getting minutes on the national team. And he's only gotten like 8 minutes against Qatar so far. So it's really surprising to me. Any team would be lucky to have him. Even though he only plays in Russia for a mid-tier team, I think he has the potential to play for a much better team in Europe. Yeah, other than that, can't really think of any attacking midfielder that we would call up, unless you want to count Nourallahi as an attacking midfielder. One is plenty. Because also we play a 4-2-3-1, so sometimes we use that attacking midfielder in the 4-2-3-1 as a secondary striker. Usually, you know, when Taremi and Sardar Azmoun play, you have one behind the other. So, yep. Anyways, moving on now to our wingers. We've only called up one left winger in Mehdi Qaidi. In terms of any other left wingers I would have seen get called up, I mean, obviously, Mohamed Mohebi is injured, so he's unavailable. Torabi, who was also called up for the national team, didn't show up. So just because I think the reason was also he didn't believe he wanted to waste his time because he knew he wouldn't be playing, so there was no point in showing up. Something like that. He's officially on Americano's blacklist, or yeah. Ego, man. Lots of egos on this team, you know. I don't mind it as well. He's pretty old now, you know, and he's not going to get any better. Give his spot to a youngster. So yeah, only one left winger, so if Qaedi gets injured, I have no idea who would be playing instead of him. Maybe Hossein Zadeh. Qudus can also play left wing. Hossein-Nejad as well, I guess you could say. One left winger that I'm very, very surprised has been left out is Sayed Manesh from Westerlo in Belgium. He's having an amazing season, one of his best actually in Europe. He's one of our only good players in Europe, you know, really good players. He definitely deserved a call up. I don't know why Amir Khananoui doesn't rate him at all. I don't know if there's some tension between them, if they have some personal problems, but in terms of a pure footballing ability, Sayed Manesh 100% should be getting called up as a 23-year-old who's been in Europe for so many years, playing for teams like Fenerbahce, Shakhtar Donetsk, Westerlo, and Hull City. All these teams, he definitely deserves a call up. I hope he is eventually called up for the World Cup because we could really use him. Also, I should preface that Jahanbakhsh and Qolizadeh are also injured, although they are right wingers. Those two are also injured, so it's actually surprising because 3 of our right wingers are injured. Mohebi, who has played right wing before on a number of occasions, Qolizadeh and Jahanbakhsh. Three of our main right wingers are injured right now. So hopefully that gives a chance to a young player to get some experience. Finally, moving on to our right wingers, we have Mehdi Hossein-Nejad and Mohammad Mehdi Mohebi. I have not seen Hossein-Nejad play that much. I've heard he's a really good player, but I need to see him play. So he's 23 years old. As long as he's young, apparently I've heard he's good. And also Mohammad Mehdi Mohebi, who plays for Sepon. He's 25 years old. I've seen him play. I do rate him. He seems like a good player. Is he the best? No. Like, is he better than Golizadeh? Definitely not better than the other Mohebi from Rostov. No. But still, is he better than Jahanbakhsh? Yes. I actually wouldn't mind seeing him start, or at least get like 45 minutes of playing time in this international window between the two games. If he gets 45 minutes, so I can see him play for a national team, I think would be good. And then for our strikers, we have Mehdi Tarmi, no surprise there. Amir Hossein Hossein Ali Alipur, and Shahir Mokhanlu. Now this is where I have a lot to say. Firstly, let me just say this, that I don't believe that we should be calling up either Alipur or Shahir Mokhanlu. Mokhanlu is 30 years old. He's literally the same age as Sardar Azmoun. It's not like this guy's a youngster. It's not like he's 25, 26, 27. He's 30. He's the same age as Azmoun. He's only 2 years younger than Mehdi Tarmi. He has no future with the national team, and I do not know why. A player like him is getting called up, but then a player like Sarkizan, has had an amazing season in Russia, who's been one of the top scorers for his team, a team that got relegated as well, by the way. It's not like Sarkizan's playing for a very high table team and his whole team is just giving him assist after assist. No, that team was horrible this season, yet he managed to net 7 or 8 goals, I believe. He's 21 years old. And the problem is with these type of players like Shahir Mokhanlu or Ali Alipur, who's also 29 years old, these players aren't going to get much playing time in this window. They're probably just going to be practicing with the team, maybe get 30 minutes at the end of a game. And here's what I have to say about that. These 30 minutes of playing time isn't going to make them become any better. It's not going to be helpful for them. It's not going to help their futures. The type of player that amount of playing time and even just practicing with the national team helps. It helps 21-year-old develop. It helps a 21-year-old get a better move to Europe because, European club looking for Iranian players. They find Sarkizan. They're like, okay, 21 years old, good season with his Russian team. Does he play for his national team? Oh, wait, he doesn't. Oh, that's surprising. He must not be that good, or he must have some issues that the coach doesn't like him, this and that just lowers the stock of these young players. So I would definitely have not invited Shahir Mokhanlu. Instead, I would have invited Sarkizan. And then instead of Ali Alipur, I would have invited Gandipur, who plays for Malavan, I believe, in the Persian Gulf Pro League. He's 19 years old. He's had a really good season, almost on par with Alipur himself. Maybe a difference of 2 goals between them. Alipur scored 12 and Gandipur, I believe, scored 10 goals. And there's a 10-year gap between them. And Gandipur played for a worser team. He didn't play for Persepolis, a Persepolis that dominates games, that finished 3rd in the league. And this player, Gandipur, has big ambitions of playing in Europe. He's a very ambitious player. I've seen him play. He's very respectful in the field as well. He has good character. He has good technical ability. He's good with both feet as well. Left and right is almost indistinguishable between the two. Fast, creative. He's a total package, I believe. And the fact that a player like Alipur is getting called up is blasphemous to me, honestly. Both of these strikers. Obviously, I should also say this, Azmoun is injured. That's why he hasn't gotten called up to the national team. But yeah. In terms of Amir Hosseinzadeh, 24 years old, Golden Boot winner in this year's Persian Gulf Pro League, should definitely be getting called up. And also Taremi. If anyone still thinks that he shouldn't be getting called up because of his age or the fact that he hasn't been playing for Inter Milan that often, I mean, just look at his last game against Uzbekistan. Absolutely phenomenal. We need him without a shadow. He should be starting as well, 100%. And yeah, no question there. So just to go over what I've already said, goalkeepers, pretty happy with. Wouldn't change much. Center backs, Majid Hosseini is also injured, so he wasn't able to be a part of this squad, although he did get called up, but wasn't able to partake. I would have rather have either gotten rid of either Mortaza Pirelli Ganji or Shoja Khalizadeh, one of the two, and brought in either Salman Fallah or Mehdi Zareh, one of those two youngsters. I would have done that switch. In terms of our left backs, I would have definitely not invited Nur Afghan. I would have rather brought in Abul Fazl Jalali or Mohamed Naderi. In terms of our right backs, no complaints there either. In terms of our CDM position, I would have maybe scratched out Ruzbe Chishmi and brought in a youngster like Mobin Dekhan. Although, like I previously said, Ruzbe Chishmi is a very clutch player, so maybe it's good to have him, who knows. In terms of our central midfielders, once again, I would definitely not invited Saeed Mohammed Karimi. Anytime he's played for the national team, he's been horrendous. I would have rather invited Ali Karimi from Kayserispor. And in terms of Razoknia, I would have rather invited Mobin Dekhan from Khaybar FC. And also Nurullahi, if he has apologized to Amir Khalanoui and to the rest of the players. And I would have kept Salman Qudus as well. In terms of our attacking midfielder, Mohamed Jawda Hossein, happy he's here. He 100% should be playing. Hope he gets his chance. Left wingers, Mehdi Qayedi, the only one that's been called up, would have 100% also called up Sayed Manish. In terms of our right wingers, we have 3 who were injured, so it's good to see some new faces in Hashim Nejad and Mohamed Mohebi, being 23 and 25 respectively. Pretty young. Glad to see young players being brought in for this position. And finally, in terms of our strikers, would not have invited Alipur or Shahir Mokanlu, would have rather invited Sahar Khizan and Qandipur. Anyways, that wraps up this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe to see more content like this. And I also like to take the time to speak a little bit about some of the future videos I have lined up. Like I might have mentioned at the start of the video, I am planning on releasing a preview for our match against Qatar, and also after the game's finished, reviewing the lineup that was chosen, etc. Alright, that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great day.